Welcome to Verbal Pick Radio, where we give you a verbal image of life, and we are everyday people. Like to welcome you all to the show. Now, today on The View, they had Condoleezza Rice, and they went into the topic of critical race theory. And basically, she was saying that she don't believe 7-year-old white kids should have to feel guilty about what their ancestors did to black people, right? And what they fail to realize, and this is just like, the show I did the other day comparing crack to opioid. It's like black people, you all should be able to take whatever heartaches and whatever hardships that should befall upon you, take it with a smile, deal with it, move on, and shut up and be quiet. That's the sentiment that happens to black people. Hey, yeah, we know the government put cocaine into your neighborhoods, crack cocaine, and it demolished your community. And we know it broke up families and whatnot, and we didn't give any proper aid, and CPS was called on the parents, and we broke up homes. Hey, shut up and deal with it. No, white people can't deal with heartaches and pains, and we need to help those that's on opioid, and don't give them criminal records. We need to give them aid. We need to help them, help them out of their situations, do whatever possible. But black people, shut up and take it. That's the sentiment. It is absolutely asinine. It's crazy, the things that they want us to carry, to hold on to, the burdens that, they feel as though nothing can, people like we're Teflon. Just dump everything you want on black people. They strong enough, they can handle it. But white people know, hey, you got to proceed with caution. Don't hurt their feelings. It's ridiculous. Now, I'm kind of shocked at Condoleezza Rice, because she grew up in segregation. And she knows that the truth is the truth. And you have to speak truth to power. And you have to tell that truth in order for not that ugly past so it don't show its head again. And however the truth makes one feel, that's on them. And if it's a 7-year-old, that's on their parents to teach them. But you don't curve the truth in order to protect someone who may feel guilty, or a child whose emotions are out of whack. That's what history is. History is the story of what he did. You can't cover that up. But don't wait. I want to play this for you guys. Check this out.
So the tight governor's race in blue-leaning Virginia.
Now, that's Whoopi Goldberg talking right now.
For which way America will swing in 2022 in the midterms. And one of the key issues up for debate is how much of a voice parents should have in their child's school curriculum, especially when it comes to subjects like sex education and critical race theory. I thought they didn't teach critical race theory until they went to law school or something.
That's right. I sure hope not, because I'm not certain 7-year-olds need to learn it.
It just sounds crazy to me. The question is, do parents need more influence here?
She
or
said
should they leave the
certain 7-year-olds shouldn't have to learn.
There is a curriculum that teachers follow, and it's
what certain 7-year-olds are she talking about?
I have a lot of education credits because you learn how to teach and you learn your subject. So you can't really pit that up against a parent who just is annoyed that you're teaching, To Kill a Mockingbird or whatever the curriculum says. You can't have the parents interfering to that extent in the curriculum. But it's nice to hear from them. But if they are adamant and they don't want you to teach what is going to be taught, period, they're going to have to homeschool their kids because this is not going to wash.
Well, they're actually homeschooling them in increasing numbers. And I think that's a signal. First of all, parents ought to be involved in their children's
Yes, they
education. Their children are in school 7 hours. That's a very formative period. And I think parents ought to have a say. We used to have parent-teacher conferences. We used to have PTAs. There are lots of ways for parents to be involved, and they should be. But if I could take a moment to talk about the whole issue of critical race theory and what is and is not being taught. I come out of an academic institution, and this is something that academics debate, what is the role of race and so forth. And let me be very clear. I grew up in segregated Birmingham, Alabama. I couldn't go to a movie theater or to a restaurant with my parents. I went to segregated schools till we moved to Denver. My parents never thought I was going to grow up in a world without prejudice, but they also told me that's somebody else's problem, not yours. You're going to overcome it, and you are going to be anything you want to be. And that's the message that I think we ought to be sending to kids. One of the worries that I have about the way that we're talking about race is that it either seems so big that somehow white people now have to feel guilty for everything that happened in the past. I don't think that's very productive. Or black people have to feel disempowered by race. I would like black kids to be completely empowered, to know that they are beautiful in their blackness. But in order to do that, I don't have to make white kids feel bad for being white. So somehow this is a conversation that has gone in the wrong direction.
Keep that last part. You don't have to what?
Yeah, there's a little bit of it in order for black kids who, quite frankly, for a long time, the way they were portrayed, the way their history was portrayed, it was second-class citizenship.
Of course.
But I don't have to make white children feel bad about being white in order to overcome the fact that black children were
How does
made
that
to
happen?
happen.
I have a couple examples here, actually.
Yeah.
In Cupertino, California, in an elementary school, third graders are instructed to rank themselves based on their power and their privilege. California's Department of Education is proposing to eliminate opportunities for accelerated math in the name of equity. In Greenwich, a white bias survey is handed out to 7th grade English class.
Wow.
A New York private school is separating by race, gender, and ethnicity. White identifying group met with a white consultant who displayed a slide that named supposed characteristics of white supremacy. An equity statement from the school district of Palm Beach County outlined the initiative dismantling structures rooted in white advantage. It's happening across the country.
Well, but again, if you have a teacher, history is going to be taught.
Yeah, absolutely.
History is
and
going
it
to
should
be taught. And as we were talking earlier, when you go to Texas, you talk to Mexican kids who feel like crap because they're being told they're less than because of the Alamo. The whole idea of teaching history is so we don't repeat it. So I think that if you're a good teacher, you don't teach to make a white kid feel bad. Right. You're supposed to say, listen, you didn't do any of this, but you should know what happened. And make sure, that, along with black kids and Native American kids and all the colors that be in school.
I have no problem with letting people know what happened.
Yes.
But let's remember, history is complex. Right?
It is.
Human beings aren't angels now, and they weren't angels in the past.
No.
And so how we teach about our history is also important.
But you have to, there's no way to hide the fact that white people owned black people. There's no way to hide that.
And I think that's been the issue, that there's been this sort of rollback of history. People want to hide history.
Oh, I don't.
And, yes, that is true.
45 seconds, guys.
And what we are seeing is this rollback of history. Parents don't want children to hear about the real history. And when we teach children about the real history, I think that is when we will really have true racial reconciliation.
People are being taught the true history, but I just have to say one more thing. It goes back to how we teach the history.
That's what I'm saying.
We teach the good and we teach the bad of history.
Yeah,
but what we don't do is make 7 and 10-year-olds feel that they are somehow bad people because of the color of their skin. We've been through that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we don't need to do that again.
We don't want anybody to feel
And
that.
nobody is doing that.
That doesn't seem to be part of the plan.
Oh, it is part of the plan.
I mean,
I'm
you know,
sorry.
in Germany, they teach the Holocaust to every student.
Of course.
I met a German girl
we
one
teach
time,
slavery to
and
every student.
A school trip is a trip to Auschwitz or Dachau.
Yes.
They learn about their history, and there is not two sides to the story.
We all have to learn about our history, but
Yes.
we also have
I
to
don't see what there
we
are
also
two
have to
sides to every
recognize that we have to
story.
live together, and we're going to do better living together
Gonna go.
if we don't make each other feel good.
You see what I'm saying? That was ridiculous. Ridiculous. Condi. You fought so hard for Team White to where some of your points you were making was just almost like a straw man. You're just pulling something out of thin air to try to give it some legitimacy. No one's aim is to make 7-year-old white kids feel guilty about what their ancestors done. Now, if they are ashamed that they came from a race that could do such brutal acts, then so be it. Just like on the black side. When young black children hear how black people were beat, all the atrocities that happened to them, it hurts their hearts. But some say, well, why they just didn't fight back? You know, why did they risk their life? Why didn't they kill as many of them as they could? Why did they sit up there and take it? Because they feel like that white people still feel like all black people are docile, and these kids are having to fight back today. They saying if black people would have fought back generations ago, they wouldn't have to physically fight for their lives today. That's what they're saying. Why didn't you fight? Because I'm fighting now. Now these kids get called the N-word, they punching them in the mouth. Now these kids say, we not taking this shit. We don't even understand why y'all took it. Just like white kids. White kids are saying, damn, you know, my ancestors killed how many in Oklahoma, in Tulsa, Oklahoma? How many did they kill in Natchez, Mississippi, in the Devil's Punch Bowl? How many slaves was killed? How many families was dismantled? And they're like, damn. Of course you're going to feel a certain way in dealing with the truth. But you're right. If the teacher is a good teacher, they know how to say, look, that happened at that time. But the reason why we teach history is so we all can come together and make sure it never repeats itself. That way somebody don't have to worry about enslaving somebody, and somebody don't have to worry about being enslaved by somebody. But when you come out and seem like you're just advocating that you don't want white people or white kids to feel bad for what their ancestors done, no, nobody's saying that. That's not even a point. Now, if they do feel bad from it, it just shows that, okay, you have a conscience. And then you take that bad feeling and you correct, or you try to do something that make life a little better and make sure you do your part in fighting racism. You have a mission now if you feel it. Because if you didn't feel anything, that means you're just as cold as callous. You're just as cold and callous as your ancestors. So it's a good thing that you feel something. Black people, black children. Yeah, of course you're saying, I'm not going down that road, and damn it, we'll fight it out right now. I'm not finna be kidnapped. I'm not finna be sold into slavery. I'm not finna be called the N-word. I'm not finna be treated like no second-class citizen. I'm not finna take that racist shit. What you want to do? That's the time we living in. And there's a reaction on both sides. And it should be. Right? But the problem is what people saying is, hey, look, don't come with an agenda to try and pull one down and raise one up, or raise one up and pull one down. Don't come, because people see it and they're like, no, we know. Because that's that same rhetoric that creates a spark of negativity. And then next thing you know, somebody's trying to stick their chest out and say, yeah, don't make mine feel bad about what happened to you in slavery. Matter of fact, they should be proud and emboldened of what happened, because we want to recreate it again. And we want to use you to go out there and deliver the message. I'm sorry. It's just like when they used Colin Powell to go out and deliver a message on the Iraq war and gave him false intelligence. And he went out there and he gave it, and by him being Colin Powell, it made the people feel secure in the decision to go to war, even though it was on false pretenses. Just like Condi. You might don't know it, or maybe somebody told you to go out on a view and advocate for your point. But you don't know what was behind why they had you go out and do it. And good thing that Joy brought up the incident with the Holocaust, and good thing Whippy and Sonny brought out their points, so they threw a fire on that flame. Because it could have been damaging. You don't know the psychological effect and what she was saying, or did she? I don't know. But you got to be careful in the narrative in which you structure your point, because you're shaping something. Maybe you knew, or maybe you didn't know. I don't know. But you got to watch it, and make sure that you take care of your words, or you choose your words carefully. You don't want to make 7-year-old white kids feel guilty about being white in a white supremacist world where white privilege, and they're not going to, trust me, they're not going to feel it. They're not going to feel it guilty about being white. They get past this due to their white, because they're white. They get catered to. They will have less traffic stops. They'll have less incidents with running with the law. They'll be more likely to get that job. They'll be more likely to get aid. They'll be more likely to get handouts and get their way versus any other minority in America. You don't have to worry about 7-year-old white kids feeling guilty about being white. Come on, are you serious? In America? Hell, black people still trying to fight to make sure the voting rights are still intact. What are you talking about? It's crazy. Verpic Radio, we out. Reminding y'all, check us out November 13th at Island Spice Bar and Grill on West Little York. K-Reno will be in the house performing. It's going down. Langham Creek Class Reunion. Y'all check us out. We out.